How does a person answer why something happens?
When you look at the findings in different fields,
Scant is the part of life in which we live.
To attain the highest values.
I think that there's a strong experience component. As you said, I believe that intuition is really internalized experience, and so just having 5 to 10 years of experience on these players, the old dogs know some tricks, and I often win the mental game. I often see these players while on their best day, they are clearly better than me, and I'm happy to admit that. I think I play at my best more often than they do. Both, I'm more disciplined, but also I'm aware when I'm not at my best and I don't play during those times. So there's a little bit of a selection bias that if I'm sitting down, it's because I think I have an advantage. I also think that at this point, I'm very, very aware of where my edge comes from and when I have an edge. Poker players talk a lot about game selection, but I think a lot of up and coming players have a little bit of an ego and they play in games against really tough players where their edge is marginal or non-existent. And this can be definitely a way to improve, but variance is a very cruel mistress. And so I only play in games where I have an edge. So I think that allows me, like on average, the hands that I play, I'm making more. And a lot of how I craft my life around the game is geared towards getting into good games, which is at the end of the day, it's a relativistic skill game. I like to say, if you're a little leaguer playing t-ball, you can be the MVP every year. Yeah. So all I need to do is be better than who I'm playing against. Yeah. I think this is a good takeaway for entrepreneurs and investors as well, is understanding the market that you're in, understanding who's on the other side of the trade, that it's generally beneficial to find a blue ocean somewhere that's not as competitive, where you can have a relative advantage.
Yeah, so the idea of blue oceans, you talk about that in Play to Win, your upcoming piece. There's this fascinating concept to me in poker of picking the table, the right table, right? Where you need you call it a recreational player, kind of the fish amongst the sharks. And if there's a table with 9 seats and you're all sharks, no one's really making money. But if there's at least one fish, then the flow of money can go to the sharks. And so why don't you sort of touched on this a little bit now as well, but we were talking a little bit before, and you've also written about this, how you you passed your prime as a poker player. You say like the prime is your early 20s, you're in your early 30s now. So I guess 2 questions come to mind there. What is it about that age, those early 20s, that make you primed for poker? And then how are you managing to still stay competitive and win tournaments at 10 years along?
So it's hard to quantify this, but we see in a lot of technical fields, such as mathematics or physics or chess, that a lot of careers peak early. In mathematics, it's the age of like 18 to 21. Chess players generally are pretty young, and it's I don't know what that is with poker, but I do see a decline in ability to think really, really deeply. I also think another factor is just both a much higher risk tolerance. So risk tolerance tends to go down as we get older. Part of this is just becoming more worldly, more aware of risks, less naive, or perhaps we have family considerations, or we've learned the value of a dollar, what have you. But young players tend to be much more fearless, which is quite an asset in the poker world. I think another factor is just lack of distractions. So when I was that age, early 20s, my life completely revolved around poker. I had poker dreams. All of my friends were poker friends. I spent all of my time thinking about ways to improve my poker game. And as I get older, accumulate other interests, more diverse friend circle, become a little bit more balanced, poker takes up much less of my mind space. And thus it's harder to, I get more stuck in the shallow when it's hard to go really deep into things. So I think those are three factors that contribute. First, just plain cognitive brain power, ability to think really deeply about puzzles, risk tolerance, willingness to put lots of money at risk or to look really dumb, and less stuck in old habits. And then finally, just pure mind share.
Yeah. So that's a great summary. How have you managed to stay competitive then, knowing those advantages that others may have over you?